This car, the new i20, I've been waiting for it ever since I first saw sketches of it. And the thing is, when you see a product in sketches, you really find it very exciting. And then when that product becomes a reality and you see it in flesh, more often than not, it turns out to be a big disappointment. And that is what happened with Hyundai's own Aura. But with the new i20, Hyundai has hit the nail on the head when it comes to the styling department. But more crucially, it has hit the nail on the head in a lot of other ways as well. So how much of the newness is there in this new i20? I can't wait to tell you all about it. So let's get on. I usually do not speak about the styling of a car too much because design is subjective. But this i20 is remarkably different in approach and execution. That is why it definitely deserves a special mention about a few certain things. First, the stance and the proportions. That I think Hyundai has got absolutely spot on. The wheels are out there in the corners and the overhangs are beautifully managed. So it does not look like it's wearing an oversized gown or something like that. The black treatment is great. I think the whole treatment with the grille and then the lip, the skirts, all that, even the fake diffuser at the back, all that looks really nice and it adds to the overall sportiness of the i20. But I really think that Hyundai should have done away with the chrome along the belt line and also at the rear. It just somehow does not work with the otherwise very hunkered down and sloping aggressive stance of the i20. And especially because the roof is also all black. In fact, we were shooting the i20 and there were a few gents who walked up to us. They started talking about the i20 and even they had the same feedback, that the chrome kind of does not gel with the overall look of the car. And so folks at Hyundai, I hope you're listening and you should definitely give this a very serious thought and probably do away with that whole chrome treatment along the side and the rear. The style elements are unique and Hyundai has gone from flowing lines to really sharp elements, especially the Z pattern or the Thunderbolt sort of a look of the tail lamps. That I think is surely going to catch a lot of eyes, especially when you're driving at night. But it is on the inside that things are even better. In fact, the overall quality is quite okay, quite good in many places actually. But there are also some areas where it could have been improved, especially along these areas, you know, the door trim over here and even the dash top. That I think could have used a better quality plastic and also the textures could have been slightly different. But otherwise, the design is quite brilliant. I absolutely love the main central panel over here. Very sleek, very sporty, and the buttons have a very solid and tactile feel to them. Plus the whole center console, right from the bottom part of the dashboard to the armrest where it flows, it's not very tall, so even your knees do not foul or do not really get hurt against the plastic. The seats, I think, are a highlight. Beautifully done, great support. The cushioning is also very good. Perhaps the shoulder support could have been slightly better, but otherwise, that's just a very small thing. And I really like this fake leather that we have over here, the upholstery. It's very nice and rich. It has a great feel to it, and it just hugs you properly, does not let you move around. So even the grip levels, yes, it's very weird that I'm talking about grip levels from a seat upholstery or the material of the upholstery, but yeah, it's just so sticky and does not let you move around in the seat, so that's brilliant. Things that I do not like, from the design and construction point of view at least, the steering wheel itself, I'm not a fan of this butterfly wing layout, and I did not like it in the Creta and I do not like it in the i20 either. And the door, the sloping roofline is actually quite a hindrance when you're trying to get in and out of the car. So angle of the A-pillar and the door, the shut lines, they are such that if you're trying to get in and out of the car, they're going to foul with your head. And the accents, they are not loud at all, which I absolutely love. The red stitching, for example, it's subtle, but it's also very sporty. The knob controls, they're also finished in a slight bit of red. So it all just adds to the charm and the theater. There is no element that looks obnoxious at all. I think, it's a personal and acquired taste, but even otherwise, you have red garnish over here around the door grab handles. So yeah, I think it's nicely done, even the red. So this all black treatment really works very well. Yes, I know that there are going to be people who would want a dual tone treatment, and they will be left high and dry because there is no such option. Features. Well, it is a Hyundai, so you get a lot of them. Solid bang for your buck. If you think that 12 lakh rupees is a meager amount, that is what the cost of the i20 is going to be, for the top end trims at least. But the value or the price to features kind of an aspect aside, you get everything that you really want. You have over-the-air updates for your infotainment system, so the maps will be updated without any problem. Then you have all the regular things like CarPlay, Android Auto, all those things. There's wireless charging. You also get Hyundai Blue Link, so that basically lets you manage some of the controls of the car remotely. And there is also a smartwatch connectivity option with the i20. A very useful thing is that the i20 supports 2 Bluetooth connections. So with one you can have the calls coming in, and with the other you can play your songs. Now the main bit. How does the i20 drive? Well, the previous generation model was not too bad, to be very honest. It wasn't really an excited squirrel, but it went around in a confident manner. So this already has a very high level of dynamism to match, which it does. The K platform has been worked on extensively. It is about 13% stiffer and 100 kilos lighter, and you can feel all that work in the way the i20 darts around the corners. The steering wheel size itself may be a few centimeters too big, but that is really nitpicking. The feedback, however, is absolutely great. The rack feels very fluid and completely in sync with the nature of the i20. It's got decent amount of feedback as well. I like the pedal placement quite a lot, and yes, well, you get only 2 pedals because with the turbo model you get either an IMT gearbox, which is an intelligent manual, so you do not have a clutch, you only have a manual H pattern shift gate, and the other one is a DCT, which is a dual clutch transmission. So you get only 2 pedals, but they're very nicely placed and very close to each other, so you can really do left foot braking in a very nice and progressive manner, very intuitive. But the play of the brake pedal, that is a little unnerving. It feels spongy, and you do not really feel the bite point on it. It does stop, there is no two ways about it, and stops quite well, but it just makes you feel like there is a lump in your throat in some tricky situations. The engine, well, this one, the one that we are driving, is the 1 litre turbocharged petrol. Makes about 120 bhp and a tickle over 170 Newton meter, and it is reasonably strong, especially when you're going between 2000 2500 rpm to about 4000 or 4500. That's where it is really solid. It gives you a very enjoyable performance. It's not neck snapping, but it is entertaining, and the IMT, it does give you a high level of engagement factor as well. Still, with the petrol, I really wish that we had the 3-pedal option as well. I think driving enthusiasts would have loved it, because you would have gotten that heel and toe experience, and that would have really enhanced the overall appeal of the i20 that much more. The turbo also comes with the option of the DCT, as I said. It doesn't have the snappiness or the feel of the Volkswagen dual clutch, but it's quite sufficient, and it's very efficient as well. It's okay, but I would still take the IMT over it any day. But even more than the engine and the gearbox, I was taken by the way the i20 changes direction and responds to the inputs of the driver. The chassis, it feels supple and playful, never really feels fidgety at all. And yes, the suspension is on the firmer end of the spectrum, and that might be a topic of debate for a lot of consumers, but there is no taking away from the fact that it enhances the driving appeal and just elevates the dynamic capabilities of the car to a different level. So all in all, it is an enjoyable hatchback with funky styling. It's loaded with features. It is an absolute joy.